Hello, everyone, and welcome to the FYI podcast. We are back. I haven't been in front of the cameras in so long, and I'm honestly so happy to be back. I'm here with a very special guest to me. I'm here with Mikeymuzik. He is a producer who has worked with some of the world's biggest artists. He's worked with Justin Bieber, he's worked with Stormzy, he's worked with Rich 2, worked with Ariana Grande, worked with Jennifer Lopez. He's Grammy nominated. He's done a lot of stuff, and it's a pleasure to have him here with us today. And here with Mikey. Hi, Mikey.
Hi, Mimi. No, thank you.
This
Thank
is
you. I
actually
appreciate
my
it.
bro as well, so it's actually even more of a pleasure to have
Full
you
circle.
here.
Yeah.
Full circle,
Yeah.
proper full circle.
Yeah.
And thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
joining us
Yeah.
and giving us some of your very, very expensive time.
Oh no, listen.
This is expensive time right
family.
here.
Listen,
This
we're
is-
here.
This is a lot of money in the room. It's not a joke. It's not
We're
for
here.
children.
We're here.
But yeah, I just want to talk to you about literally everything. Like,
Okay.
I'm gonna act like I don't know you. So
Okay.
I want to know. We're gonna start an early life.
Okay.
So how did you get into music? Where did this start for you?
Okay.
How did you grow up? What was growing up like?
Okay. We're going to the beginning.
Yeah, we're going to the beginning.
Okay. Originally from Southeast London.
Okay.
Born and raised in a Nigerian household, and with music, it started in church. You know, at the age of 5, my dad picked me up and said, "This is the drums. Figure it out." You know, and he was the drummer in the church, so it was kind of like passing on the baton. And yeah, from the ages of 5 to 11, I was just a drummer kid, just drums. Everybody knew me as drums. And when I went to secondary school, my music teacher basically showed me how to make my own song.
Okay.
It was a software called Cubase VST. And I'll never forget, that day I looked at him, I was like, oh, you've basically showed me my life. And from year 7 to year 11, that's all I did, music production.
So you basically knew from very, very early
young,
that
yeah.
music was gonna be your path.
When people ask me, like, what would you do other than music? I can't tell you. Like, music is just ingrained in me. Like, we could go to a restaurant and we could be talking and music is playing in the background. I'm hearing you, but I'm listening to music. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
So you talk about your dad obviously putting you in front of the drums and, basically introducing you to music.
Yeah.
So when you decided that you wanted to do music professionally as a career, what was that like with your parents? Because there's this African stigma of, you tell your African parents that you want to do music and then I know you have to be a lawyer, you have to be this, you have to be that.
That happened. Like, I didn't tell them that this is what I wanted to do. They just thought music was something I was doing as a hobby.
Yeah.
And I made my decision at 16. So I got to college, and in college, that's when, they took the music course to the next level. It was like music production. You had to like remake your own songs. I used to sing back in the day, and you had to sing your own records and stuff. So I was like, no, this is what I want to do. But I was still doing like my physics and maths. So they only knew about that side. Is when I went to uni, that's when I was like, I'm doing this full throttle, like, forget my course. And my course was actually music, though, ironically enough. But when they found out that this is what I was really doing, it was, man.
So up until that point, who did they think that Michael was going to be? Who was Michael going to be?
I was
in the
supposed
eyes
to
of
be
his
a
parents?
mechanical engineer. Like, I was supposed to go to Surrey University, do mechanical engineering, get the degree, come back, and that just didn't happen. Like, and that caused like a rift between myself and my father at the time.
Right. So how does that conversation go?
It's tense. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I was so confused because like, yo, my guy, you introduced me to music. Like, what do you think was gonna happen? But it's just life, and I think for me, I just knew that I had to do music. There was no other thing I could do at that point. Like, I was smart, I was good, I was deputy head boy, I was, a good student, all that stuff. But my passion was, when I get to music, it was a rap. Everyone knew me from my school, college. They knew me that I was the music guy.
So would you say you kind of understood the fears that your parents might have had?
Yeah,
at that
100%,
point, with
'cause-
you not wanting to.
Yeah, my parents came from Nigeria, and it's like, all they know is lawyer, doctor, engineer. We all know the stigma. So it was real for me. Like, it was like, how is music going to give you a life? Because to them, music is, you're playing drums at the wedding, or, you're that kind of a performer. So they didn't really understand like how the money will come from it, or the sustainability, will come from it.
What would you say was the point that your parents actually believed that music was paying off? Because, you have to get to that point. Them hearing it is enough, like, okay, yeah, you're doing music, but where's the money coming from?
I
Like,
think there was
what
two
point?
periods. Like, we know money is good when they see money, you
Yeah.
see, looking after your parents. And I think people telling them that, yo, like your son, we know who your son is. And my mum's like, what are you doing? Like for people to come and tell me like, oh, they're seeing you in interviews or they're seeing you with like certain artists. And I think I never forget the day that I gave my mum my first plaque. And she looked at it and she was like, this is amazing. This is good. What does this mean? And I had to show it in like the monetary side of
Yeah.
it. But even to this day, I feel sometimes like she's like, you
don't
make
get it.
music. Like, how does that work? I'm like, listen, don't worry. Just look at, hold this one. That's cool,
Okay, so did you have like, whilst trying to chase your dreams, did you have like a day job? Was you doing anything on the side?
Yeah.
So,
So like I said, when I went to uni, I was working. When I think about it now, so I was doing full-time uni, then I was working full-time hours at office selling trainers. So
Wow.
I used to lie to my lecturer that, like I'm not feeling well. I was doing shifts, like knocking out shifts, and I would message my friend like, what was today's course? Like, what was the lecture? And then I was doing music on the side. So literally just trying to fund the dream. I remember taking all of my student loan, buying equipment, don't worry about food. Food, what's that?
So how did that work out for you?
It just worked out. Like you just figure it out. Yeah, I think when you have your back against the wall, you will figure it out. Low times, definitely hard times, grinding. And I think, you learn about yourself. You learn time management, money management. You learn about, how far can it go low, and then, how high can it go at the same time. But I just had to make music. Like I just had to be this producer in my head that, would just want to develop artists and, make great music.
Okay, so in terms of like what you wanted to do, the vision was very clear. You know that you
Very,
wanted
very
to
clear.
produce music and you wanted to manage
100%.
artists.
Yeah. And I was always a team player. So like when I was 16 in college, I would always want to work with like people who were also producers and also want to like work with songwriters and artists. And that's why SOS formed when we entered uni.
So do you feel like you've ever had a point in your own personal career where it was like, I'm so frustrated with this, I'm not getting to
2
where
weeks ago.
Okay, let's talk about the early stages of it.
stages,
So
yeah.
whilst you're still like trying to find yourself in this
Yeah.
music thing, you're working, you're doing all of this stuff,
Yeah.
and you want to get somewhere, but maybe
Yeah.
you're not quite reached there yet. Like,
Yeah.
how did you navigate that? What did that feel like?
So
for
when
you?
I was by myself, like it was frustrating because, to be fair, when I look back, I didn't really understand the industry I was trying to enter. So it was a creative, a talented creative entitlement, if that makes sense. It's like, I'm talented, I'm good, respect me. Like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
It don't work like that. Nobody cares. So at that point, like in my church was another producer trying to do the exact same thing. And he basically was the keyboardist at the church. So I was the drummer, and we would always basically link up after service and be like, oh, what did you do this week on music, and play music. And then one time we went to go minister at another branch of our church, and we were like, we should come together and make a production team. I know a producer, I know a songwriter, you know a songwriter, let's come together and let's form a team. So the frustration kind of was hard because there's now two of us.
Okay.
So we now came together and just was like, you know what, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to make our own music. We're going to make our own noise. And eventually we did, and Sons of Sonics was birthed. So that's kind of how I handled it, and just know that, okay, I have somebody that's on the same mission with me trying to do the same thing.
Cool. So you talk about that sort of that entitlement.
Yeah.
So once you unlearn that, how do you then go into a space and assert yourself? Like, how do you get everyone's attention?
You have to be the best at what you do. Like, it then became, okay, master the craft now. Like, it became whatever you've known, like before this point, you now need to level it up. And that was just the 10,000 hours that everyone speaks about. That's studio making songs over and over and over and over again. And I remember those times where I would leave my uni, go to his uni, and we'll just be making beats, trying different techniques, and then realizing that nobody genuinely cares at the start. Like, you have to show yourself worthy. Like, why should we even work with you? What have you done? And then we just like, okay, we have to prove it, and we just have to be better at what we do.
So it sounds like a story of iron sharpening iron.
100%.
And that's how Sons of Sonics was obviously born, which is amazing. So when you guys are like, what are some of the challenges that you guys have faced together in the beginning? Like, what did you not realize that you needed to overcome?
Do you know what it is? In the beginning, we realized that we had two different production styles. Like I said, I was the drummer, so I was very like groove heavy. Like a lot of my beats at the time used to sound like Timberland. Like it was just like the drums is the main thing in the mix, the chords are in the back, and with Mo's an amazing keyboardist, so he was very chords, very musical, very like melody based. But then what happened was like I would lean into the more music, seeing what he would do, and vice versa. And then there was a nice balance. And then just the usual stuff like just, do you like this kick? No, I want this kick. No. And it's just understanding that we're trying to achieve the same goal, which is a great song. And that comes with time. You're two different personalities, two different backgrounds, two different ways of even hearing the same music, because like our mixes is a mixture of both of our musical tastes. So we had to adjust and be like, okay, there's a reason why I want it to feel like this so that it complements this part of the song and vice versa. So yeah, trial and error. Trial and error.
Trial and error. So how would you describe both of your creative processes? Because obviously it's two producers working together.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do you guys collaborate in that way?
Do you know what? At the start, like I said, two different styles, but I think we both had to learn at the same time that the song is key. Like the song, not the production, not how sick your hi-hats are, not how, slapping your snare is, but the song. So we focused more on songwriting. So now, like we've kind of merged into the point where on a production side, so we start with the feeling of the song, which is the chords, the music. How does it feel? Like when we have our sessions, we will have a conversation with the artist. So how was your day? I need to know how you are right now. What do you want to, like, what's been going on in your life? What's right in the front of your focus? And then we build from there with the music. And then like things like the beat and the drums and how everything is layered, that's like something for post-production.
Okay.
But in the moment, I need to get the song from you. And that's kind of been our starting place.
That's amazing. So what would you say is like the biggest benefit of having somebody else to do the work with you?
Just a second ear and a second eye. There may be things I don't see. There may be things that, I may not know, or there may be things that I can improve because I don't know it all. He doesn't know it all. But like literally when you come together, I always say this. Do you remember Dragon Ball Z when you had like Goku and Goto, whatever the names are? Don't go and kill me online. Coming together and becoming one. That's literally like what happens, because you now feel like, oh, I don't have to do this by myself. I know that, oh, if I give him this particular thing to do, he will knock it out and it will allow me to focus on something else, and vice versa. But it helps because, two heads are better than one.
So I want to speak a little bit about the name. Obviously, it's Sons of Sonics, very self-explanatory. But how did you lot like conclude on that name? Like, what did that mean to you guys at the time, Sons of Sonics?
Originally, we were just called SOS Entertainment.
Okay.
There used to be this, it's still there, a magazine called Sound on Sound, and we just used to like the SOS. Like, that's just sick. And then it was like, SOS is like, it's urgent, like we're here, the SOS guys are here. It's just like, okay, cool. But then it evolved because, like I said, originally there was 4 of us. There was 2 producers, 2 singer-songwriters. They went to go do their own thing. And it was just me and Mo. And then we're like, so what are we when it comes to music? Like, music is an umbrella. And, under it, you have songwriting, you have the rhythm, you have harmony, whatever. And then we were like, no, sonically, we want our music to sound a particular way. We want our music to feel a particular way. So we are the Sons of Sonics. Yeah.
I love that. That's a good story. I really like that story. Would you say there's been any sort of disadvantages of like being in a group, or have you felt like the industry itself hasn't, like, has there been any challenges? Do you feel like the industry has received that well? Because it's very rare that you meet a duo production.
No, I think it's a benefit because it's not I'm coming by myself. We are coming. It's like, oh, who are they? It's just more of an impact. The industry is the industry. At the end of the day, we play how we want to play it. And I think people just the only downside, I guess, would be like when I go somewhere, it's like, where's Mo? I'm just like, we're not attached. We're not attached. Not even just that. It's just we're not attached to the hip, And there's things that he may be interested in. He'd be like, yo, this is an event that's happening. I'm not going. I'm not interested in. So you go rep, and vice versa. But it's been good. It's just 2 heads are better than one, like I said.
It's amazing. What would you say is both of your as Sons of Sonics? What was your breakthrough moment where you lot was like, okay, this is big?
We had 2.
Okay.
And I will say why. The first one was our first major placement in the States with Ariana Grande on her first album. We were blessed with the opportunity to work on that album with Harmony Samuels, who's Moses' brother. He was executive producing the album with Babyface. So, two 20-year-old boys in LA in the studio of Ariana Grande. This is like, oh, we're here. It's amazing. But that was like the pre-game. That was like, after that situation, we came back to London thinking, yeah, we're lit. We see we're here with this and that with them guys. And the industry was like, who are you guys? Like, Ariana Grande wasn't even big here yet.
Yeah.
So it was like, what does that mean here? Like, doesn't mean anything. So we then had to go back into the studio, work, grind, do the rounds. And the moment that basically was like, okay, we're known is with Wretch 3-2 with 6 words. That was the moment where it was like, okay, who are these guys now? Like, we can't ignore them now. Like,
that's interesting. So
Yeah.
would you say like you almost felt like you conquered America before you actually conquered the UK?
I wouldn't say conquered, but I'll say like America. The thing about LA at the time, and it's still the same now, is if you're good, you'll get the opportunity. It's not a case of like, who are you? Who's your manager? Like, what have you done? Which is what happens here, unfortunately. It was just like, oh, these guys are talented. Put them in with this person. Let's see what happens. It's amazing. Great. Let's do more. So we thought that was enough weight for us to come here and, open doors. Not a single door. Nope. Didn't happen. So we had to do the rounds. We had to go back to the urban scene, like, and really work on the ground. And before even getting to Wretch, we had to do a song with Young Spray, Chip, and Wretch to get our name in just on the streets. Do you understand what I'm saying? And fortunately for us, that was a song that became a real big tune in North London. So we built our relationship with Wretch, and then that just kept building and building and building, and then boom, Wretch 3-2 was just like, yeah, 6 words. This is gonna be my single to bring me back, and then we ended up doing the album, and then we're here.
So after that, do you feel like that song made it easier for you to like navigate your way through the music industry in the UK?
100%, because the song was a success, and it kept the conversation. Now was like, okay, so who are these guys? Like, we need to get in. And kudos to Wretch, because he kept telling other artists, like, you need to get in with SOS, you need to get in with those boys. So started working with Bashi, started working with Tiny Temper, Alexandra Burke, and we're looking at ourselves like, right, we're here now. Like, these are the people we used to like send emails to or try to speak to the engineer to get into the studio. It didn't happen. But when you get good at what you do, they will find you. Like, they will find you.
So would you say once you get your foot in the door, it's kind of easier?
It's easier, yeah, because it's like, oh, your proof of concept worked. The song that you made is the song that's ringing off now. That's how you're seeing it now with people. Once they get a hit song, everybody needs to get that hit. We need that same formula. So that's what happened. Yeah.
Sick. I like that. Okay, so another question I have is, when it comes to navigating the industry, and obviously you want to create timeless music and you're working in so many different genres, how do you make sure that it is a timeless sound? Like, for you, that's such an important thing. I mean, I've watched all of your interviews and you're like, I need to create timeless music. So what is timeless music to you?
I feel timeless music stems from human emotion. It stems from what we all feel on a day-to-day, and those are different conversations. Those are different levels of vulnerability, different levels of honesty, and you're seeing it. Like, I could play Billie Jean right now, and everybody in this place is dancing. That album came out 4 decades ago. That's timeless because there's concepts on that album. There's feeling in that album. Sonically, you can hear that they took their time with it. So timeless music for me is a gumbo part of all of that. Did you take your time making the song, which is take your time to mix it, produce the song? Did you take your time to write this song? Like, what are we saying? I always tell my songwriters when we're working, like, what are we actually saying? Like, let's get deep with this. Let's not just say, I love you.
Yeah.
Okay. How many songs say I love you? Like, what is it about love that we can talk about? What is it specifically? And how can we, explain that feeling? And I feel like once you have conversations with people and you write songs from an emotional level as a human being, for me, it's instantly timeless. And I feel like there's certain genres that even give you that. For me, the first genre that we were known for is R&B. R&B, you can play that now, will change your mood. It's either you want to call your boo or you just want to be in the shower crying and thinking about life. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's a timeless emotion, and that's what has made us like successful, because when people come and work with us, they know they're getting a song that's gonna slap. I'm not here to just blow up my own trumpet, but
Yeah.
I'm being real because a lot of the artists that we've worked with, the songs you see came from our first session. We're not going in there to just be like, let's just make anything. No, you're leaving this place with a hit.
Very intentional.
Very intentional. Like we're not like McDonald's where it's like, okay, here's a beat, here's a beat, here's a beat, here's a tune. We'll sit down, we'll have some drink, we'll have some food, let's talk. Who are you? Because I don't know who you are. I don't know where you come from. I need to understand what works for you as a human being for me to now open my laptop and make something that is created to you. And a lot of the artists that I work with, they're like, wow, every time we work with you, it's like a therapy session. It should be. It should be, because we're trying to make something that's bigger than us. I want to make something that in 5 years' time from now still slaps. And I can pull up so many records we've done that 5 years from now will still slap.
So obviously I've been having conversations with quite a few artists, and they don't like the fact that they can't just get like beat packs anymore. What's your opinion on like the whole beat pack situation?
We have to understand that we're still in the music industry.
Yeah.
It's a business.
Yes.
So there needs to be, it's like a conveyor belt. We need to mass produce this. I understand beat packs, and we had COVID, we had lockdown, so there had to be different forms of, creating music regardless of distance and traveling, whatever. I personally prefer to be in the room with you. It saves time. I'm not shooting in the dark. I call it shooting freeze in the dark. I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be like, okay, when we say a beat pack, what are you looking for? And this happened to me. It's funny you asked me this. This happened to me this week where they're like, yo, Mikey, we need a beat pack. I'm like, what are you looking for? Vibes. Do you know how big Vibes is? Like, you didn't even send me like a playlist or reference or nothing. It's just, we just need vibes. And it's always, we need that hit. I just need that. Bro, I don't know what that is 5,000 miles away from you. Like, I'd rather be in the room with you. Do you like this chord? You do. Do you like this sound? Okay, cool. Build. Do you like this groove? It's tailor-made. And I understand, like, you want beat pack? Me personally, I'm not a beat pack person. No, I don't have time to be making beats for you to say no. Nope.
Okay, so when you're trying to study a new genre, maybe a genre that you haven't worked in before,
Yeah.
where do you start your research? Like, what are you looking for? How do you know how to create timeless music within that genre when you haven't necessarily worked there?
So what I tend to do is what I'll usually do is listen to the top 10 songs of that genre in the chart. You can go to Spotify, you can go to Billboard, and I will study it. Like, why does this work? What is it about this song that makes it in the top 10? And that goes down to what's being said, the song arrangement, the sonics, the instrumentation, maybe the lack of instrumentation. Like, really study it and listen to it, because we listen in many, many stages. We can listen as just casual listen in the background, or we can listen with intention to the song, the arrangement, vocal ability. Then we listen to the production. I listen like in 4 different stages. So you have to really study this genre. And like, if I was today gonna make a rock song, for example, I would listen to the best rock artists right now and be like, okay, this is the tempo. Okay, this is the key of the song. Okay, this is the vocal arrangement. Okay, the hook is shorter than I thought. All right, and then make my own. Go and make my own version of it. It may not sound like it because I'm coming from a different palette, but then that's what will make my version of that genre stand out in that genre, if that makes sense.
For sure, yeah.
Because, for example, whenever we go to LA and make R&B, it would always make me laugh, because obviously I grew up listening to like dubstep and grime and all these different textures of music. So I would put that fusion into my R&B, and the Americans would be like, yo, man, that R&B is different, man. That was you're from the
Different type
UK?
of
You're from
flavor.
London? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, from London, bro. It's like, it's cool, but that's just what made the Sons of Sonics brand stand out.
Yeah. Okay, so now whilst we're on the topic of Sons of Sonics, you
Yes.
guys have recently dropped a project.
Yes, we
back
have.
in August.
Yes.
Talk to us about this project.
Yeah, so Time Zones and Tylenol, it's our debut project, as artists. We're known as producers, but we've done the artistry route. And this project is just an accumulation of the last 5 years of our life. Pandemic for everybody was life-changing. We had our own, journey. 2020, we were stuck in LA. So we were just there figuring out who we are now. Like, we couldn't work as producers. So what do we want to do? And remotely was working with artists. And I'll never forget, we had a session prior to the lockdown. Chip basically came to our session and heard a song we had done with this artist singer-songwriter called Verse Simmons. And it was just a normal writing session with Verse. And Chip was like, what song is this? Like, this song is crazy. Like, you need to pull it out. We're like, what do you mean pull it out? He's like, no, you as artists need to like just put this
it
out
out,
with the
yeah.
song. So that was 2018, and we put our first single, Full Speed, and it did what it did. Like, it was independently, like, we did it, radio support from the guys in the UK, and we're like, oh, we can do this. So between there and 2020, we tried to, you know, make projects with artists whilst doing producing for other people. And pandemic happened, had a situation with a distribution company, didn't go too well. So that was like a blow, you know, that was like I'll say a setback, but, you know, God was doing what he needed to do. We had lessons to learn. And then 2022, we came back with another record called Honest with Ghetto Boy. And people were like, yo, we need more music. And that's when we were like, all right, cool. We're doing this EP now. And it's just a journey on how we felt, you know, our views of the industry, you know, our views on life. And a lot of these songs were in that 5-year period. Like, they were in that window. Like, the oldest song was written in 2019, and the latest record was done in 2021. So when we
Almost a journey.
it's literally a journey. And when we say timeless, when I play it to people, they're like, yo, this is crazy. And when I tell them when it was made, it's like, no way.
Yeah.
How did it hold its weight? Timeless, intentional.
And that was going to be another question that I was going to ask, because when you look at the project, you've got Chip on there, you've got Tenny on there, you've got Sean Butler, and it's just like, how do you get all of these people together to create something that perfectly creates an image of what you want to deliver?
Relationships. It's just human to human relationships. It's just honesty. It's like, my guy, I need this for this project. Or you're saying, yeah, you got it, cool, whatever. Obviously, you have the other things involved, like labels and managers. Like, there was supposed to be other records on the projects. We had a few hiccups with, you know, teams and this person's rollout. This artist has to come off the song. Like, one of the songs, we literally had to get recut 48 hours before submission for the EP. So we went through that Tylenol, like, part of the project. Tylenol is paracetamol in America, right?
Okay.
So, like, the project is the time zones, dealing with all these different artists in different time zones, from Tenny in Nigeria, Chip in London, you know, Sean Butler in LA, and then the Tylenol just dealing with the headache of the industry, and music being our painkiller.
That's amazing. So that brings me on nicely into the lead single, Alafia.
Yes.
Obviously, the song means peace.
Oh, man. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
Alafia is a Yoruba word for peace. Talk to us about that song. How did that song come about? What are you doing? Because I know you're doing a lot of exciting stuff with the song right now.
Yes.
So talk us through how that became, how you decided that was going to be the lead single, how that song came about, how it was created,
Yes.
and then what you're doing with it currently, which I'm really excited to talk about as well.
Alafia, man. So it started, like I said, we're finishing this project and we're looking for a few other songs. And with the project, it's like Afrobeat undertones with different pop songs on top of it, basically. You know, being Nigerian boys, do Afrobeats is just second nature to us, right? And with Alafia, at the time, I was going through some like personal stuff in life, stress, basically. I'm not gonna even sit here and lie. And I remember driving in LA, and the album for me that always resets me spiritually, physically, is Brandy, Full Moon. I don't know why. Whenever I listen to that album, I'm just like, life is okay, calm down. So then Full Moon comes on, and I'm like, has anybody sampled this song? Like, nobody sampled this record. Like, okay, cool, no problem. Get to the studio, and then I just chop up the sample. Obviously, at my piano is the genre of genres. You know, Quincy Jones has this saying that the drums of the day is the hit of the day, basically, right? So I'm like, what would this sample sound like with some of my piano vibe or whatever?
Yeah.
So I make it. I send it to Mo. I'm like, what do you think? He calls me. He's like, what did you just do? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, bro, this is gone. Like, we just know that we need the right song on it, right? So I'm like, well, okay, this sample's Brandy. It has to feature Tai. It has to feature Me.Tai. Like, it has to feature our artist that we've been developing. Send her the beat. She's like, oh my God, samples Full Moon. Because Full Moon, like, I grew up with Tai, so Full Moon Brandy was like the blueprint. Like, that was like the R&B, like, if this is the bar, right? So she's written a song on it, and we're listening to it. We're like, I don't know, man. I don't think it's it. I don't think this is what the feeling of the beat is
delivering.
Do you get what I'm saying? And she was like, no, you're right. So she had another stab at it, and I was just like, listen, like, what does this feel like? Peace. And it literally does feel like when you listen to Alafia, it was the piece that I was basically looking for in that drive. Do you understand what I'm saying? So got into the studio with her, Nia V and Sean Wonder, who work with Brandy. It's crazy, like full circle moment, right? So we've written the song, we're getting crazy, it's mad. Then, production from the team, myself and Mo, and Jaden Lewis, who's an amazing piano producer from South Africa. So he jumped on the record, and we've got this big record with a big, amazing R&B sample, and then the business.
Right, because that's
Like,
to get that cleared.
I'm just sitting there like, okay, you've done all of this running around from London, South Africa, everything. How are you going to clear this record?
How are we getting this cleared?
I kid you not. As God will have it, I'm playing this record to my A&R, Uncle Tough Morgan, in LA, and I'm like, Uncle T, this song, he's like, yo, this song's crazy, it's gonna da 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 da. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but I need to clear the sample. Like, how am I gonna clear this sample?
How's this gonna happen?
And at the time, I thought Rodney Jerkins made the record, because everyone knows that he did the majority of the Full Moon album. He goes, oh yeah, Uncle Mike City made it. I was like, what do you mean? I thought Rodney made it. He's like, no, Uncle Mike City wrote and produced this song, so he's 100% of this song. Just a little bit of context on who Mike City is. Mike City is a legendary R&B producer that we had met when we first went to LA.
Okay.
Mike City at the time when he made Full Moon was managed by my A&R.
Right.
I can't write this. Like, this is God.
Just divine order.
Just divine order. And I'm looking at my A&R like, what did you just say? So he's now explaining to me how we're going to clear this song.
Okay.
So I'm like, so are we going to get him to replay it? Because there's different terms, sample clearances, all of this stuff. Because he's 100%er, he can basically say
yes or no.
Yes or no. Not only do we go to his house to get clearance, he replays the song for us. That's why he's featured on the record. So I'm sitting in the guy that made Brandy Full Moon. He made Heard It All Before. He made big records back in the day.
Big tune.
And he's sitting there replaying the song, and I'm like, nah, this is a dream.
What was that moment like?
I was a 9-year-old boy screaming inside of this big adult in his house.
Gassed.
I was gassed, because you have to understand, like, he was one of my blueprints. Like, he
Yeah.
was someone I used to, like, I didn't even know it was him. Like, I used to study his music. So to have him co-sign our artist, to have him be a part of this record, for him to be like, yo, this song is actually amazing. Like, I was just internally, obviously, keep your steez. Yeah. Come on, Mikeymuzik. What are you talking about? Deep down, I was screaming.
Geeking.
I was like, wow. And then, I thank Uncle T and, the record. So every time I play the record to people and they're like, yo, this is crazy, I'm like, you don't have an idea. And that's one of the moments of music that's beautiful, because you just never know where a moment of you trying to figure out life will take you, and every person that's heard the record is like, oh, this is crazy. So we've got a lot coming for that record. A lot is coming with
A
that
lot
record.
like.
So we have a documentary on basically what I said coming.
Yeah.
Just going into a bit more depth of how the record was made on his end, Full Moon. And then we've got a package coming of the record with different people collaborating on the song. So it's gonna be big.
Do you want to tell us who you're collaborating with?
Nah.
I've heard some stuff.
Nah, I'm
You
not
know
gonna,
what you don't want to tell us?
No, not yet. No.
I know.
I want it to be a surprise.
You want it to be a surprise.
Yeah.
It is going to be a surprise. It's a great song. It's a very
Yeah.
great
No,
song.
I appreciate it. And for me, like, that song, even now when so you think stress just left? Stress hasn't left fully. There's times where I would listen to that song and be like, relax, just remember. And the craziest thing is, like, there was still legal stuff that we had to clear. And I remembered, a day before my birthday, like, we had to submit the song. Like, if we don't submit, the labels, if you don't submit the song, it can't come out. The morning of my birthday, I get a call from Uncle Tough, like, yeah, I don't know what you're on, but it's cleared. I said, God, thank you. Special offering this week. And that's, like I said, music is a beautiful thing that will just take you on those, roller coaster of emotions, and then when people hear it, it's just like, I was right. I was right to just believe. And with music, you have to believe. You got to believe, that it's going to do what it needs to do, so.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So talk to me a bit about Tai.
Yes.
Obviously, she's the lead singer on the on Alafia, and she's also your artist.
Yeah.
So how did you guys meet?
Oh man. So we know her as Tai, but her artist name is Me.Tai.
Me.Tai, yes.
So with Me.Tai, man, we went to college together. We literally went to college, and she used to be in the gospel scene in the UK. And you know, at the time when we were making SOS, I went to her. I was like, "Yo, like, I'm trying to do this production team." She's like, "Nah, I'm a gospel artist. Like, I'm not really trying to do the secular thing, music thing." I was like, "All right, cool, no worries. It's still family, sis, and whatever." Fast forward a whole 10 years. Yeah, just shy of 10 years. We bump into each other at Elephant and Castle. And I'm like, Tai, like, long time, what's going on? But she's like, yeah, I'm trying to, do the writing thing, music thing. I think she basically like stopped doing the gospel scene thing. And she came to LA to write on the project as a songwriter. After we finished the project, we're like, yo, just stay in LA. Let's just
See what
work.
happens,
Just keep writing, make records. So we're making records for Rihanna, pitching for all these artists' projects. And we're playing it to people and they're like, yo, who's the girl singing? Like, is she an artist? I said, are you an artist?
Gotta ask her at this point.
Me and Mo were like, Ty, like, you artist, like, we trying to do? Like, she was like, all right, let's try it. So she went through like 3 to 5 years of just figuring out her sound, like figuring out who she is, being like us, like British-born Nigerians, from Southeast London, grew up in church. And she is like an arm of our sound because we've experimented musically with her, and I think because it's our artist that we've developed and songwriter that we've worked with, it's like us. Like this is we gotta take good care of it. And yeah, that's why I said a special record like that with Brandy Full Moon had to be her. And every person that hears the song is just like, yo, this girl is incredible. And now we are starting to roll out her own music because, the attention, how music works. And, she's a problem, like in a good way, in the sense of like, she's a artist that I feel brings back a bar of what we saying. Like what's actually being said on the records. And substance. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's like, it's a fusion. It's the right fusion of pop, R&B, and Afrobeats. And she's a force not to be played with.
I love that. So you mentioned developing her over a period of like you said like 5 years.
It's like 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years.
It might be a little bit longer. Yeah,
how do you, as a manager, keep your artists motivated when they don't have a breakthrough for such a long period of time? Or like, how do you keep them going? How do you keep them creative?
Yeah.
Because as you know it, in the world that we are in today, people expect to get onto the internet.
Yeah.
They expect to wake up in the morning and it's gone. So how do you keep somebody in the flow of things for 5 years and then finally get to the point where it's like, look, this is what we've been working for. This is it.
So with Ty, with her situation, so we're actually like her producers, publishers. Like she has her management team and stuff.
Okay.
But as producers and people that, we're trying to get to understand like the music and game, it's kind of like there's like a Big Brother meets, A&R hat that you have to have and it has to be transparent, and we've had our journey when there was times where we thought it was gonna go and it didn't.
Yeah.
She's had situations on the table, she's had conversations, it didn't work out. So she's frustrated, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, bro, I need this, that. And I'm just like, as a brother, I'm just like, T, I know. But I've just learned, take that frustration. What do you want to say on the song? Okay, I'll make it instrumental. Like, let's talk about, and she's just been stacking with records. And to the point where I get into sessions with other females and they're all like, when is this out? Like, I had a session with somebody else. They stopped their session to ask me about her and was like, well, so, yeah, great. When is this music coming out? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she's had people in the industry, high top names, being like, yo, you got one with her. So knowing that, but then knowing that this is a process, because at the end of the day, I believe that God won't give you what you're not prepared for. And I look back now and be like, oh, we were still young in our, view of what this music was supposed to do, you know, and we had to basically learn other things about the industry. So with Ty, it's just, let's just keep going, because I know that frustration. I was there 10 years ago, like in London, with the same frustration of like, when are we going to get signed, man? We're good. Like, when is the time, this and that? And I just channeled that energy, mastered the craft and stacked up. And I think with her, Like she's now, there's times we will speak. Like we even spoke this week. Like the frustration is always gonna be there.
Yeah,
It's just
of
letting you
course.
know. Like she will call me like, Mikey, man. Okay, tell me, and we'll talk and we'll talk. But it's just that encouragement. It's just that same, iron sharpens iron, to be like, just keep doing what you're doing. Worry about what you can control. Like be present. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist yet. And don't look in the past and be like, it should have been like this. You will run. Sorry, you will think so.
That was the Yoruba coming out of him there. He said you will run.
You will think so hard, and you won't move the way you should be, as
Definitely.
a creative. So, I think everything happens as it's supposed to be. Her debut single dropped called Emotional. And I think it's just time to just show the world what we believe in,
So what's 2025 looking like for Me.Tai?
Oh man, for Me.Tai, it's just building. I think the issue isn't, I think with great artists now in the day and age we're in, the issue isn't having great music. That's not the problem. We're an attention game now. We need to basically get people to know why should I come and listen to you? So we want to introduce who she is, how she thinks, how she talks, you know what I'm saying? Her style, her aesthetic. So while building that and showing her vulnerability or honesty side, we'll lick you with a good song. And you'll be like, oh, this was a good song. And then another one will come. And then another one. And by the time you look at it, like, no, I'm sold.
Yeah,
I'm actually a fan. And, taking you on her journey, because what people fail to understand is she has catalog worth of music, EPs ready, just mixed, mastered, ready
just
to come.
There.
And it's just knowing the time that we're in. We don't want to basically throw something out that we've taken our time, timeless stuff, good stuff, and then it's just like, okay, that's cool, what's next? No, you will stick here and you will play that song, and we want to basically make sure it's right, not wasting time, but making sure that it does what it needs to do. So 2025, yeah, ooh, wow, 2025, we're bringing her out with music, and I just want the world to see what we believe in.
We look forward. I definitely am looking forward to 2025 for Me.Tai. And hopefully we can even get her on here. And have a nice sit down with her, speak to her about her journey. But also what I wanted to speak to you about is the living in 3 different time zones, Mikey. He's everywhere, guys.
Listen.
He's in LA, he's in Nigeria, he's in the 3 L's.
The 3, but we are winning though.
Yeah, but he's winning.
We're not losing.
Taking all the W's.
Yes.
But we're in the 3 L's, Lagos, LA, and London. How is that?
It's a lot of jet lag, a lot of headache, but a lot of like progressive building and relationships, because these 3 places are me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm Nigerian, so Lagos default foundation, born and raised in Southeast London. So London has been where I became who I am, you know what I'm saying? And then I grew up on American culture musically, and I lived there for 8-9 years, and it's just, I get bored. I'm not even gonna lie. That's just honest truth. I'll get bored. If I'm in London, I'll be like, okay, it's over, it's too cold. Let me go to LA, let me build. And, I'm happy that my music and my gift has allowed that to happen,
I want to pause you there just slightly for a second. Let's talk about LA, because LA seems to be like a very, very big part of your journey. How did you get to, like, what made you go to LA for the first time? Your first experience of LA, because I know you speak about meeting Will.
Listen,
everything happens that first time in LA. How does that impact the rest of your career moving forward?
So we moved to LA because we felt like we had done everything we could do in the UK at the time, and we weren't. What it felt like at the time was like we were being put in a box. Like, they're the R&B producers. Like, they can just keep doing the urban stuff, keep doing like the Wretch and the Stormzy. We're like, no, like, we grew up in church. In church, as an instrumentalist, you have to learn all genres. So we love making pop ballads. We love making folk music. Like, we literally have a very wide range. But at the time, like, reaching out to labels to work with some of their pop acts was just difficult. It was just hard. And we were just like, nah, this is jarring. Meanwhile, Moses' brother is in LA doing Chris Brown, Fantasia, working with Whitney Houston, working with all these people because he got signed by Rodney Jerkins, right?
Okay.
So Moses goes out there first with his brother, and I'll never forget the day he called me. He was like, Mikey, everything we've been doing in London,
forget
about it. Just start again. I'm like, no, we SOS, bro. Like, and at this time I didn't really know his brother.
Yeah.
So I'm like, no, but like, obviously Harmy's gone there, he's done his thing, like, we can do it. He's like, bro, I don't know what you're talking about, but forget. And I'll never forget, I called him one time on Skype. Wow, I'll just bear up my age. But yeah, I called him I called him one time on
Some
Skype.
people don't even know what Skype is.
Listen.
It's a long time ago.
Called him on Skype and he's in the studio and his brother's making a song for Mario.
Wow.
And I'm like, what is that? Like, you know when you've heard something you've never heard before in your life and you're like, I need to know how this was made. And LA just basically became, this is where you learn standard. Like, this is where you learn industry business. This is where you learn industry mixing. This is where you learn how to like vocal produce, record people. And we just started going there 2012. And at that point, it was like, learn. We had to come back, try to implement what we learned, try to build our own studio. Voila. We're like, go back again, get inspired, be with harmonies, seeing him on the phone, talking to all these stars, Brandy, all this stuff. I'm like, wow, like LA really is like where your dreams can actually come true. Come back to London, you're trying to work with this artist, they're telling you, nah, I'm not really feeling it. You're not feeling it. The same beat, we just played this R&B artist and they wanted to do.
You know somebody that's
they're chatting. Cool, no problem. So then 2000, this was like for 3 years, just going back and forth.
Yeah.
2015, obviously this is just after 6 words roughly. A&R, the A&R I was telling you about, Tough Morgan, he heard 6 words. He said, whoever these guys are, signed them. Signed us, gave us our first publishing opportunity. And we're trying to do the back and forth, but it was hard because it was like, I need to put you guys in sessions with so-and-so. And so, oh, they're in London. It's not going to work. We tried to do the whole beat pack thing, sending stuff. It's not going to work. So we were like, what are we doing in London? Let's get out here. And what's crazy is when we first was going back and forth, Harmony was like, you guys need to move and be here. I'm telling you, I've just done it. Like, why you keep going back to London? But there was just something about, like, we got to go to London and kindergarten, we got to do what I do. It was just young boy energy. So 2015, we were just like, all right, cool, let's go. And I kid you not, it just went all guns blazing from then. It was just like, all right, we're here. What we trying to do? We just got everything. We just got Ty Dolla $ign, we got Trey Songz, we got Jennifer Lopez, we got Korean placements, we got placements in the Latin scene because that's the Mecca. That's like entertainment Mecca. And, you know, I always say, like, if you want to know if you're about this thing, America will show you. Take that trip. America will show you, like, especially at the time. Now it's a bit different. You know, the internet has opened the doors. People are traveling a bit more. But at that time, you want to know if you're, you know, Champions League or Premiership, you go over there and find out.
Do you think that you would have had the same sort of like trajectory if you didn't have Moses' brother in the cut? Like, would you say like he was a big tool, or could you have navigated LA without him?
I think in order for you to be great, you have to be under a great, right? And the blessing of having Moses' brother is Moses' brother just basically showed us. Harmony basically just said, this is how you do it. Go and figure it out. He never was just like, okay, come, jump on.
Yeah.
H is like, I'm like, and the craziest thing is like, if Harmony works, he's a workaholic when it comes to this music thing. Even with all of his success, he will be doing, if he's doing like 16, 17 hours, we had to do 20. Because it's like, first of all, you're more successful than us.
He's already made it.
You've made it. You up. We the little brothers that's trying to figure it out. Yeah. So like he was just the blueprint. We always call him the blueprint because he showed us if you have an idea, it can happen. You just got to work for it. And I'll never forget when we first went out there, we moved. He sat us down and said, let me just explain something to you. You can never be me. And that was refreshing because it's like you kind of like take off the bag of trying to live up
I
to,
don't even want to live,
you know what I'm saying, to the name and
the
shadow. And obviously it's a family affair with all 3 of us. So it helped us to be like, okay, who are Sons of Sonics and what can we learn from you to build what we want to build? And we always used to say, because he was American based, we were the musical gypsies because like the time zones, like you can see, we'll travel, like we'll go to Nigeria, come to London and be like, you guys live on the plane, but it's just, that's just what worked for us, you know, creatively. So, you know, I would say with him, he just basically showed us what was possible. He showed us work ethic. He taught us the business. He taught us basically like how to make songs. He like how to redefine our songs. And you need a mentor. You're not going to try and figure. You can do it yourself, but you will make a lot of mistakes. And he basically saved us from making mistakes because he will say, don't do that, don't do this. And then we saved ourselves a lot of money, or we saved ourselves like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
That sounds like
He
a
was, he was,
blessing.
he was like a catalyst, I would say, a catalyst, a mental catalyst.
A big blessing.
Yes.
A big blessing.
Mm-hmm.
So, your time in LA, what would you say has been your favorite moment? Like, what is a moment that you just like, nothing tops that for me in LA?
I think the Grammy nomination
Yeah.
was like, oh wow,
Big
like
deal.
we're nominated.
What song was that for?
Justin Bieber, Confirmation on his Changes album.
Big song.
Thank you.
Massive song.
Like that was a moment that wow, they really told us no. Like we had our first publishing meeting in London, and we're playing all of these R&B beats and all this, peng music, feeling ourselves, right? And the A&R said to us, like, you will never be successful making R&B music. Like, do you know what that does to you as a young creative? Like, you start,
Crazy.
second guessing yourself. We're like, raw, like, no, this is good, bro. Like, what are you saying? And Harmony said to us at the time, it was like, don't listen to anybody. Make what feels good to you. Just make sure it's the best. Fast forward 10 years, nominated on R&B pop album with the biggest pop artist
Crazy.
of our time. Like, you can't write that. So that moment, I remember looking on the red carpet, even seeing Mo, I'm like, rah, like we really came from Hertfordshire University, Buckinghamshire University to LA to be on the red carpet as Grammy nominated producers. So that basically showed us never take a no. Don't listen to a no. Just take that no and be like, one day you'll see.
And on that note,
Yes.
what is your advice to those who are looking to make that transition to LA?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know where they're gonna start, how they're gonna, what they're gonna do, how they're gonna do it.
How you gonna do it?
Like, what's your advice to those
I'll
people?
say, firstly, LA is one place.
Yeah.
Like you've seen this, there's multiple scenes. There's Atlanta, there's New York. I would say definitely go and scan the land 1st. Don't just be like, I'm packing my bag and go.
Yeah.
Come on.
Cozy.
It's not gonna work. It might not work. I'm just being honest. It might not. But I would say plan. If you fail to prepare to fail, is what I've learned. And we basically had those back and forth trips. Like we will go there, build relationships. People know our sound. People know who we are. You have to build relationships with people. Remember, everybody in LA in the creative sector isn't necessarily from LA. You have people from Boston, New York, different parts of the world. So everybody's trying to make it. So you have to now deal with different people's characters, the yes men, the fake talkers. There's a lot of them. And we had to go through that. We had to go through people saying, yeah, man, I got 7 on so-and-so's album. Like, give me music and we can work. And then they had none, because it's just talk.
Yeah.
Go there, discover how it works, learn how the system works, learn who's the A&R, who's the go person, who's the top writer, try to build relationships with them, and then know yourself. Know yourself and your why. Because the thing with LA is if you don't, it's a jungle for things to go left, right, center, diagonally,
I
backwards.
feel like people can pray in that as well.
100%.
100%.
100%, and you just have to know your why, know yourself, know your character, stand firm on it, because people will try to change you. People will try to say, no, you got to do this to be successful. You don't have to do that. Just let you know now, you don't. You really don't, and just build a community that you trust there as well. Fortunately for me as a person, I had Moses and his brother, and we kept it like close knit. We were one family. So it was just like if he was going through something, he had both of us to pick us up, so pick him up, sorry. So yeah, that would be my advice.
That sounds amazing. Great for that. So we've covered London, we've covered LA. How did you end up back in Lagos?
Oh my days.
Yeah, talk about it.
So fun fact, I only went to Lagos, Nigeria for the first time in 2019.
Yeah.
As a full-grown adult.
As an adult.
Went out there to work with Universal Music at the time.
Yeah.
At the time, I think we'd just done Kid the Kud's Money with Tenny. And the same day that dropped, our record with J-Lo and French Montana dropped. So Universal were like, yo, we got these producers from America coming to Lagos, to work with all these artists. So we went to go work on a camp just to see what's going on in, Nigeria. Shout out to our former manager, Dana, because she put that together. She was like, you guys have never been to Nigeria, and especially you, Mikey, you're a freshie. I was like, listen, here's what it is.
I've never been there.
And that basically was the moment where it was like, oh, okay, this is why the journey has happened. When we went to Nigeria, a light bulb went in our head, like, okay, it ends in this continent. Like something.
What does that mean?
In the sense of, I've gone through this whole traveling around to do something on this continent, which is to either educate, help, create opportunities to do something to help the next generation. Because I saw too much. I saw talent, no infrastructure. I saw people of, 17-year-old kids singing. I'm like, wait, brother, if you were in LA with the right team and money, you're a global star. Even at the camp, one of the artists that was there was Thames. Like, I remember being in one of the sessions, and Moses came into the room and was like, bro, I hear what you guys are doing, but Mikey, come outside for a second.
Quickly.
Like,
Let me chat to you.
let me finish this. He's like, bro, I'm sorry, just come outside. I come outside, Thames is singing at the table with some guy playing keyboard. I'm like, who's this girl? Like, and that's what I was talking about Nigeria. Like, there's so much abundance of talent that I just felt like I had to just help in any form, you know what I'm saying? So that has been the journey since 2019 to kind of see like, okay, how can we help? I'm not saying we're going to come and change Nigeria and change the industry. No, this is its own machine. But what can we do to basically be like, okay, we're from here, this is our own, what can we do? And 2022, we put on the first Frequency camp, which was a camp for songwriters for us to just see what talent is there. We had like P Prime come through, we had like Mins came through, like we had a lot of names now that are like, yo,
Massive, yeah.
gone. I'm like, oh, that's my brother, So every time I'm in Nigeria, we link up, we cook, make great music. And from that camp, we discovered, people that were like, okay, let's give them opportunities. Let's collaborate with them.
What does giving someone an opportunity look like?
An opportunity is to show your talent. At the end of the day, a lot of talented people just need to be seen. They just need to be taught something, learn a part of the industry, and I basically, at the production side, I started to lean into being an A&R on the publishing side. So my publishing company, they were like, Mikey, like, we love your passion for Africa. Like, let's have a conversation on what that would look like. So I've been kind of working with my publishing company to discover new talent. And it came from that trip in 2019. So this last year, I signed my first producer from Nigeria by the name of Freshy Vibes, an amazing kid. I feel like he's bringing an authentic sound of Afrobeat back. And the first song he had at the gate was Ruger Make Way.
Sick.
You know what I'm saying? This year. So that just made me go, stay on course, man. Stay on course. When you take yourself out of the picture, the vision is clear, man. It's bigger than you. Just know that it's bigger than you. And I'm now more fulfilled seeing this kid get placements, or seeing this songwriter work on a project in LA, or seeing this person getting an opportunity, then, oh yeah, I got another placement.
So
know what I'm
would
saying?
you say when you're out in Nigeria, you're just always on the look for something special?
Always. I'm
discover
always
something new.
Always. Like when I'm in Nigeria, even Ghana as well, we've had sessions and
Africa
camps
as a
in
whole?
Ghana, Africa, because we've seen it this year that the continent, is rich with talent. The biggest, you would say, the biggest artist to cross over or cut through is from South Africa, with Tyler. So what else is on the continent? What else is in East Africa and South Africa? And I just feel, for me, like, I just want to help where I can. I don't have the answers to everything, but I know a lot. You know what I'm saying? And wherever I can connect dots, wherever I can help creatives, and it's not just even just on the musical side, like on the fashion side, anything creative. As a creative, I want to help.
How do you navigate
Yeah.
doing business in Nigeria, especially music business,
Yeah.
because they're so very new to it?
Yeah.
In comparison to how you would do it in maybe LA in the UK, because a management deal in Nigeria almost seems like it's a record label deal.
Yeah.
It's a full
It's a
360.
bond.
It's a full 360.
Yeah.
Death row, you're not going nowhere.
I feel like because I explain what I'm doing,
Yeah.
there's a level of trust and transparency. So the business is, yo, I want to work with you. This is what's going to happen. This is what this means. Yes or no? Yes, cool. And then I deliver. Simple. I don't want you to come and judge me on what's happened to you before. Go check my track record. Go and ask about me. Literally, like, I don't have nothing to hide, and I think I'm just building relationships that way. And I think people appreciate that in the scene where it's what you described. It's just hard, and I just feel like we need more of that. And I think there are people definitely doing that. There are people in positions of power that want to bring that transparency and help creators. And like I said, my why is the creative. Honestly, like, I want this producer to be like, rah, I made a song, it's out, I'm getting paid for it. Simple. No shaking, no issue, no
if buts
wahala.
and
Just be
maybes.
transparent. And I think explain it to the creators. Like, don't just say, I got it covered, it's cool. No, explain it to them. Explain how it works, So that's that.
Right. So back onto 3 days.
Yes.
The agency, you're working with fashion designers, you're working
Yes.
with camera people,
Yeah.
you're working with magazines, you're doing a whole
We're
lot.
trying. We're trying.
I see the cover on banners,
Yeah.
different covers, a lot of stuff going on. So talk to us about what 3 days is.
So 3 days is a community for creatives to facilitate services within music and fashion, you know, and as a creative, I know how it feels to chase up an invoice. I know how it feels to look for opportunities. And, you know, I'm fortunate to have a lot of relationships in the industry. So I could have a conversation with someone and they will say, yo, man, I'm looking for a photographer. Oh, hold up. We have a roster here for you. What do you need? You know what I'm saying? And just making sure that you get what you're looking for, you get what you're looking for. And on our roster, we have, you know, an amazing set of people that literally trust us to just represent them. You know, we have content creators, we have, you know, video directors, photographers, and it's just literally because I'm in the industry, because my team are in the industry in different sectors. How do we be the bridge for the creative, for the brands, for the music industry, and facilitate in a transparent manner? And we have them globally. So that's one of the reasons why I hop around. You know, we've got people in LA, New York, we have people in London and Lagos. Yeah.
Amazing. So why the name 3 days?
2 reasons. My faith, you know, Jesus died on Friday. 3 days later, he conquered death. So there's something powerful about, you know, completing things within 3 days. And I remembered at the time I was juicing with a company in LA that I represent. And on the bottle, it would always say, please consume within 3 days. I was like, why 3 days? I want to save this juice like
Or maybe a week.
for a week or so. But she said that after the 3rd day, it loses its value of nutrients. And I was like, rah. So with how we move, we try to respond in 3 days. We try to deliver where we can. Like we need to make a step within 3 days. And that's why it was called 3 Days Agency.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So our turnovers are quick, very quick.
So very quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so get with 3 Day Agency because
Yes.
you know they
we
3
deliver.
days
We deliver
in 3 days.
And I think again, like I said at the start, it's a community. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like each person actually helps each other's projects. So like if you're doing, for example, one of our video that music directors had a video shoot. The person doing the BTS was from 3 days. Well, the stylist was from 3 days. You understand what I'm saying? And it's just
in-house.
build a community.
Yeah.
Each one, you know, teach one and help each other out. So yeah.
That's amazing. Well, we've heard so much about work. How does Mikey find balance in all of this? Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I need help with the balance because it's just I know myself. I want to help everybody.
Yeah.
People know me. I want to be, you know, and I'm just learning that I have to help myself first. I have to make sure that my cup is full, and that's something that I'm learning more so in my recent years because it's not healthy that way. You'll be burnt out, and you know, I'm learning to just, you know, no is okay. You know, you can say no. It doesn't mean anything. It's nothing personal. And I think now, especially going into 2025, I've actually said that to balance my health. You know, I barely sleep, so I'm trying to work on that. You know, and just make sure that when I go out into the world and help where I want to help, I go back home and there's like
and look after yourself.
I can look after myself. I can eat suya and sit down and relax.
So have you got like an actual plan of how you're gonna make sure and stay on top of your health, your
discipline,
all of that?
Like literally get in the gym, eat right, sleep, you know, just set boundaries. That's something I never really had because, you know, you feel like, oh, I gotta be there for everybody and I gotta deliver and do all of this stuff, and I just was burnt out. And I think now life will humble you to like, no, bro, you need that boundary. You need to not be everywhere. You need to not be easily accessible, you know, and just make sure you look after yourself so that when you do give, you're not giving from E, you know, you're not giving from empty. So yeah, that's what I'm working on, definitely.
That's good.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
It's
No,
been
shout out to you.
absolutely amazing talking with you, getting to understand what you've been doing, what you've been up to, your journey, which has been amazing. And we are looking to hear so much more from you. Wishing you the best with your artists, with Sons of Sonics, with absolutely everything that you're doing. And hopefully we can be involved. You can let us know where you got shows or whatever.
No, for sure. We're just getting started,
bring your sister along.
No, we're just getting started. Trust me, we're getting started.
But no, honestly, fun question to finish with. Who's your top 3? Who's your top 3?
Top 3 what?
Your top 3
producer, artist in
your
general.
Top 3 artists in general.
Ooh, of all time?
Of all time.
Okay, all time. Okay,
that makes it easier, innit?
Michael Jackson, number 1.
Yeah,
Michael Jackson goes right there at the beginning. Number 2. I would say my second favorite artist of all time might be Marvin Sapp for gospel. Yeah,
Ooh.
Marvin Sapp. I'll
Okay.
definitely say Marvin Sapp. And then third, I would say artist-wise, Brandy. Yeah.
I knew you was gonna say that
Brandy.
though.
Yeah.
I absolutely knew. I could have actually
Brandy.
answered that one for you.
Brandy. Yeah. Those are
Okay,
top
so
three.
here you guys have heard it. Marvin Sapp. Well, at number 1 is Michael Jackson.
Of
2,
course, it
Marvin
should be
Sapp.
everybody's number
and
one.
Brandy at
Yes.
number 3.
Yeah.
Solid. Are we gonna do producers? Do we want to do
I can do
producers?
producers.
Okay,
Yeah.
your top 3 producers.
My top 3 producers: number 1, Quincy Jones, the blueprint of all goats.
Yeah.
Rodney Jerkins, Dark Child, and I'll say Timbaland. Yeah.
Timbaland.
Yeah, those are my
Gotta
3.
have Timbaland in there.
Have to, man. The rhythms was
OG.
just too much. Like,
Yeah,
it's just, how do you take a bird and put it in
How
the
do you
beat?
do
Like,
that?
what's wrong with
He's
you?
just too goated.
He's
You gotta
just
put
too
him in there.
legendary.
You gotta put him in there.
Legendary. Yeah.
A producer you would love to work with.
Max Martin.
Max Martin.
Max Martin, because he's like the goat of when it comes to modern day pop music.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely Max Martin. I know people thinking I'll say someone urban or nah. Them guys write songs. Songs, man. Songs.
Okay. Michael's got old soul, as you can hear
Yeah, I'm
from those
oldie.
answers.
Yeah.
You got old soul. You're not oldie, but you got old soul.
I'm old, Joe.
But honestly, bro, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sitting with me. And guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I can't wait to see you next time. Peace.
Thank you.